Welcome to the Deep Dive from BookCast FM, bringing books to life, one cast at a time.
Hey there.
Today, we're diving deep into a book that, well, it really changed the game for modern marketing, didn't it? Seth Godin's Purple Cow, Transform Your Business by Being Remarkable.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those foundational texts. Still incredibly relevant.
For sure. And our mission here for you listening is to really dig into Purple Cow. We want to pull out those core ideas, the actionable stuff you can think about for, whatever you're working on.
Exactly. It's more than just the catchy metaphor, the purple cow in the field.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the starting point. There's a lot more depth to it about what it really means to stand out.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Godin kicks off talking about the death of the TV industrial complex. What does that actually mean today? I mean, it sounds dramatic.
Well, it was dramatic.
Yeah.
And incredibly insightful for its time. He basically saw that the old way, make lots of average stuff, blast ads on TV, sell to the masses, that whole engine was breaking down.
Because we just got overwhelmed with ads.
Pretty much. Think about how you consume media now. You're not just passively watching whatever's on, right?
Yeah.
You choose your streams, your podcasts, your websites.
Yeah, definitely more selective.
Exactly. So that mass market, one-size-fits-all advertising just doesn't work like it used to. We've all developed these filters because we have to.
Yeah.
The volume is just immense. Creating something kind of average and shouting about it, it's just noise now.
So just being very good isn't cutting it anymore.
That's the core of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good is the new boring, almost. In a marketplace flooded with options, very good. Just it blends in. It's invisible.
Right.
Godin argues you have to be remarkable. And remarkable means literally worth making a remark about. It doesn't necessarily mean flashy, but different. Interesting, maybe even a little weird to some people.
Okay.
It's about creating something that truly clicks with a specific group, a niche. Those are the people who become your biggest fans and, crucially, start talking about it.
Which brings us to this idea of otaku. It's a Japanese term, right? Not your standard business jargon.
Right, exactly. Borrowed from Japanese culture. It refers to people with this intense, almost obsessive interest in something specific. Think of them as the super enthusiasts, the early adopters, the real geeks for whatever it is you do.
So not the mainstream audience.
Not initially, no.
Yeah.
Godin's point is, instead of watering down your idea to appeal to everyone, you should focus like a laser on these otaku. Why? Because they get it. They appreciate the nuances. They crave something new and different in their area of passion. And crucially,
They talk about it.
They're the sneezers, as he calls them. They get excited and they spread the idea virus to their networks organically. So for anyone listening, the question is, who are the real enthusiasts in your world? What makes them pick?
This next one feels like a real paradigm shift. Safe is risky. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? Instinct tells you safe is, safe.
It's totally counterintuitive, isn't it? We're
Right.
kind of wired to avoid risk, to aim for the middle ground, hoping not to offend anyone. But think about it in this context of overwhelming choice and noise we just discussed. If everyone is playing it safe, what does the middle ground look like?
Crowded and probably pretty boring.
Exactly. Crowded and boring. So playing it safe actually makes you more likely to be ignored, to be invisible. Godin argues that taking the bolder step, creating something genuinely different, something remarkable, that is actually the less risky path in the long run.
Because at least you have a chance of being noticed.
Precisely. If nobody notices you, failure is guaranteed, no matter how safe your product is. So it makes you think, doesn't it? Where are we playing it too safe? Maybe being afraid to stand out. Could that caution be the biggest gamble?
And how does the product itself fit into this? It feels like the focus shifts dramatically away from just the advertising budget.
Oh, massively. This is crucial. Godin is really clear. Marketing isn't some magic dust you sprinkle on at the end anymore. The product is the marketing. Or the service, obviously.
So a great ad campaign can't save a boring product.
Nope. It's like, putting lipstick on a pig, as they say. If the core offering is unremarkable, no amount of clever advertising will make people genuinely talk about it or get excited about it long term. The remarkability has to be baked into the product itself.
So the first question in development should be,
Not how do we market this, but how do we make this remarkable enough that people want to talk about it? How do we make it the purple cow from the start?
and that ties right into the idea virus concept you mentioned?
Exactly. Old marketing was about interruption, pushing messages onto people. The idea virus is about attraction. Create something so good, so interesting, so useful, so remarkable, that the idea itself spreads person to person.
Like a virus, but, a good one.
A good one, yeah. And those sneezers, the otaku, the enthusiast, they're the ones who catch it first and then spread it.
Mm.
It's word of mouth on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
And it's way more credible because it comes from people you trust, not an ad.
He uses great examples. JetBlue, Apple, Starbucks. What's the common thread you see running through those? Why are they purple cows?
Well, look at them. Each one fundamentally challenged the norms in their industry, didn't they? JetBlue came into a horrible industry, airlines, and focused on customer experience TVs, legroom, when others were cutting back.
Right. They made flying slightly less miserable.
Exactly. Remarkable in that context. Apple. Constantly pushing design, user experience, creating things people have strong feelings about, love or hate. That's remarkability.
And Starbucks, coffee was just coffee before them, really.
Pretty much a commodity, yeah. They turned it into an experience, a destination, a daily ritual, the third place idea. None of them just threw money at ads for an average product. The remarkability was in what they did, how they did it. It was core to the offering.
So if we had to boil Purple Cow down to its absolute essence, what are those core themes?
Okay, number one, being remarkable isn't optional anymore. It's essential for survival in a crowded world. 2, real innovation has to start with the product or service itself. 3, focus on the niche, the enthusiasts, the otaku first. Let them spread the word. 4, that counterintuitive idea of playing it safe is often the riskiest thing you can do. And 5, the product is the marketing. Your offering itself needs to be worth talking about. It's all about becoming that purple cow.
The book is also packed with really memorable quotes that hammer these points home. Any favorites that stand out for you?
Oh, loads. But the key to success is to find a way to stand it to be the purple cow in a field of monochrome Holsteins. And that's just perfect. Sums it all up.
Simple but powerful.
Totally. Then there's safe is risky. That one always makes you stop and think. And the flip side, boring always leads to failure. Boring is always the most risky strategy.
It reframes how you think about risk.
Absolutely. And I love this one. Marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories you tell. Shifts the focus, doesn't it?
Yeah, from features to narrative.
Right. And this one about fitting in. In a crowded marketplace, fitting in is a failure. In a busy marketplace, not standing out is the same as being invisible. Ouch. But true.
He doesn't mince words.
No. If you are not remarkable, you're invisible. Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And he even challenges just being competent. The opposite of remarkable is very good.
That's a tough one for people aiming for quality.
It is. It means very good isn't enough to get noticed. He urges action. Don't be afraid to stand out. Be afraid to be invisible. And contrasting old and new, the old rule was this: create safe, ordinary products and combine them with great marketing. The new rule is create remarkable products that the right people seek out.
That captures the whole shift.
Perfectly. And finally, just hammering it home. If it's not remarkable, it's invisible. If it's not worth talking about, it's boring. Yeah, those quotes really nail the core message.
Let's dig a bit deeper into the book's flow. He starts with that story about seeing a purple cow on a road trip. Why is that such a sticky image?
It's brilliant because it's so relatable, isn't it? We've all been bored on a long drive, seen endless fields of regular cows, then bam. Imagine seeing a purple one. It would instantly grab your attention. You'd remember it. You'd tell people about it.
Yeah, you definitely would.
So it perfectly illustrates his main point right away. In a world of sameness, the truly different, the remarkable, is what breaks through and gets noticed. It just sets the stage beautifully.
And then he contrasts the old TV industrial complex rules with the new rules. Can you elaborate on that core shift again?
Yeah, the old way was based on interruption and averages. Make an average product for the average consumer, use mass media to interrupt them enough times that they eventually buy it. Think Mad Men era, kind of.
Right. Big budgets, big reach.
Exactly. The new rules are about earning attention, not buying it. It's about creating something so inherently interesting or valuable to a specific group that they seek you out and then they tell others. It's a shift from push to pull.
And marketing gets involved way earlier.
Critically earlier. It's not an afterthought. It has to be part of the design process. How do we build remarkability in?
Why is this need for a purple cow so, urgent now compared to maybe 20 or 30 years ago?
Just look around. The sheer volume of everything, products, services, content, messages, it's exponential. Standing out from that level of noise is incredibly hard.
So good enough gets drowned out instantly.
Instantly. Being remarkable isn't just a nice to have for growth, it's becoming table stakes for even being seen, for survival. Those examples, Apple, JetBlue, Starbucks, they show that being different, sometimes radically different, isn't just viable, it's often the key to breaking through and building real loyalty.
He uses the Dutch boy paint example, which I found interesting. It wasn't the paint itself that was revolutionary, was it?
No, and that's what makes it such a great example. The paint was, paint. What they did that was remarkable was change the container. They got rid of those awful, messy metal cans that you needed a screwdriver to open and spilled everywhere.
Yeah, those are the worst.
Right. And they introduced easy-to-hold, easy-to-pour plastic containers. It was a simple change, focused entirely on the user experience, solving a common frustration.
And that made them stand out.
Hugely. It got people talking. Have you seen the new Dutch boy paint jugs? That's remarkability. It shows you don't always need to reinvent the core product. Sometimes innovating around the delivery or the experience can be the purple cow.
But is that kind of advantage sustainable? If Dutch boy makes easy pour jugs, won't everyone else just copy them?
Ah, yes. That's a super important point Godin makes. Remarkability isn't a one-and-done thing. Your purple cow will eventually get noticed. And if it's successful, competitors will copy it.
So the cow turns beige again?
Kind of, yeah. Or at least less purple relative to the rest of the field. So the real key is building a culture of remarkability. You need to be constantly looking for the next purple cow, always innovating, always challenging the status quo. Success shouldn't lead to complacency. It should fuel the search for the next remarkable thing.
He also really pushes back against trying to appeal to everyone. Why is targeting a niche so important for being remarkable?
Because the attempt to please everybody almost inevitably leads to compromises. You smooth off the interesting edges, you dilute the unique aspects, and you end up with something bland, vanilla.
Safe but boring.
Exactly. To be truly remarkable, you often need to have a strong point of view, something that won't appeal to everyone. Think about products that people feel passionately about, either loving or hating them. That polarization is often a sign of remarkability.
Like Marmite.
Like Marmite. Perfect example. By focusing intensely on a specific niche, those otaku, you can create something they absolutely adore, something that feels made just for them. That passion is far more valuable than lukewarm acceptance from the masses. Delight a few deeply.
He talks about doing an interestingness audit. How would you actually do that for your own business or project?
It's about stepping back and being brutally honest. Imagine you're seeing your product, your service, your website, whatever it is, for the very first time with fresh eyes.
Okay.
Does anything about it genuinely make you pause? Does it pique your curiosity? Is there anything surprising, unconventional, uniquely valuable? Would you honestly mention it to a friend?
So it's like an external perspective check.
Totally. If the honest answer is, probably not, then you likely don't have a purple cow. You need to find that element. Maybe it's a feature, a design choice, the story behind it, the customer service, something that makes people go, that's different. That's interesting.
There's often this tension, isn't there? Companies want the results of being remarkable, but they're scared of the risks involved in getting there.
Oh, absolutely. It's the classic paradox.
Yeah.
Everyone admires the bold innovators after they succeed, but the process of getting there involves uncertainty, potential failure, maybe even criticism. Sticking with the tried and tested feels safer.
But as we said, safe is risky.
Exactly. Godin flips it. He argues the biggest risk today is being ignored. So, the perceived risk of innovation needs to be weighed against the actual risk of becoming invisible. Companies need to foster a culture where smart risks are encouraged, where failure is seen as a learning opportunity, not something to be punished.
He also warns against just copying the market leader. Why is being a follower usually a losing strategy?
Well, by the time you've successfully copied the leader, they've likely already moved on to their next innovation. You're always playing catch-up.
You're offering yesterday's purple cow.
Pretty much. And you rarely achieve true differentiation that way. You might capture some market share as a cheaper or slightly different alternative, but you won't build that passionate following. Godin pushes for finding your own path, looking for gaps, unmet needs, ways to be genuinely original, not just a slightly better copy.
He also expands the idea of who your competition really is. It's not just the other companies selling similar things.
No, not at all in today's world. Your real competition is everything else vying for your customers' attention. Like Netflix, social media, news alerts, emails, other tasks, sheer distraction. We live in an attention economy. Your remarkable thing needs to be compelling enough to cut through all of that noise, not just be slightly better than the product next to it on the shelf.
That's a much bigger challenge.
It is. The question shifts from how do we beat brand X to Why should anyone spend their precious time and attention on us right now?
The Aaron Chair case study is interesting. It looked so different, almost strange at first.
It really did. It broke all the conventions of what an executive office chair should look like. No
Yeah.
plush leather, this weird mesh design, and it was expensive
So why did it work?
because its remarkability was rooted in function and a specific philosophy. It offered exceptional ergonomic support designed for people spending long hours at a desk. It wasn't trying to appeal to the traditional corner office aesthetic.
It found its tribe.
Exactly. It resonated deeply with a specific group, particularly in tech and design fields, who valued that long-term comfort and the engineering behind it. Its very difference, its initial weirdness, became a status symbol, something to talk about. It proves that defying convention can be a massive strength if it serves a real need for a specific audience.
So if a business manages to create a genuine purple cow, what are the concrete benefits they can expect, besides just getting noticed?
Well, getting noticed is huge, but it leads to other things. First, purple cows can often charge premium prices. People will pay more for something unique, something they truly value, or that solves a problem in a novel way.
Okay, better margins.
Right. Second, you build much stronger customer loyalty. People feel a connection to brands that stand out and resonate with them on a deeper level than just, it does the job.
They become fans, not just customers.
Exactly. And third, maybe the most powerful benefit is the free marketing. Genuine purple cows generate word-of-mouth buzz, social media shares, maybe even press coverage, all because they're inherently interesting. Think about the early days of Krispy Kreme you mentioned.
Yeah, people were lining up telling everyone it wasn't ads.
It was the experience, the hot now sign, the taste. The product was the marketing engine. So being remarkable can actually make your marketing cheaper and more effective.
If there's no exact formula, though, how does Gozin suggest people actually find or create their purple cow? What's the mindset?
It's about cultivating curiosity and a willingness to question everything. Look at your industry or any industry. Where are things stagnant? What are the unspoken rules that everyone follows? Why?
Challenge assumptions.
Constantly ask, what are customers secretly frustrated about? What needs are going unmet? Look outside your industry for inspiration. Could an idea from hospitality work in finance? Could a tech concept apply to retail? It's about training yourself to see the boring and then actively brainstorming ways to inject something unexpected and valuable.
He has that really simple litmus test, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Just ask yourself, if I saw my product or service for the first time, would I remark on it?
Be honest.
Brutally honest. Because you might think it's great, but remarkability is defined by the audience. Does it genuinely spark interest? Would someone actually talk about it? If not, back to the drawing board. It's a simple but powerful filter.
You mentioned Krispy Kreme again. How did they make a simple donut remarkable?
They didn't just sell donuts, they sold an experience. The theater of seeing them made, the smell, that glowing hot now sign, creating urgency and anticipation.
Pavlovian response for donuts.
Totally. They added these sensory and emotional layers to a basic commodity. It wasn't just about eating a donut, it was about the event of getting a hot, fresh Krispy Kreme. They made the mundane into something special, something worth seeking out and sharing.
Godin also connects Purple Cow back to his earlier idea of permission marketing. How do they fit together?
Well, permission marketing is all about getting consumers to agree to receive your marketing messages, rather than interrupting them. Think email lists you subscribe to, accounts you follow.
Okay.
The purple cow is often the crucial first step to earning that permission. If your initial offering, your product, your service isn't remarkable enough to grab someone's attention and make them want to know more, why would they ever give you permission to market to them further?
So the remarkability earns the attention needed for permission.
Exactly.
Well,
it's the hook that makes people lean in and say, okay, tell me more.
let's circle back to otaku. How do businesses practically find these people? You can't just put out an ad saying seeking obsessives, right?
Probably not. No, it requires deeper market understanding. Where do the most passionate people in your field hang out? Are there specific forums, subreddits, Facebook groups, blogs, niche publications, conferences?
So you have to go where they are.
You have to go where they are, listen to their conversations, understand their specific language, their inside jokes, their pain points. Then you create something so tailored to their needs, so resonant with their passion, that they feel like you truly get them. Engage with them. Give them early access. Ask for feedback. Make them feel like partners.
And then they become your sneezers.
Then they become your most powerful sneezers, your evangelists.
And that leads to his point. Ideas that spread win. It sounds simple, but what does it mean in practice?
It means that in our connected world, the virality or shareability of your product or idea is a key design consideration, not an accident. You need to actively think. What features or aspects of this will make people want to share it?
Like a referral bonus or...
Could be something explicit like that, sure, but often it's more intrinsic. Is it incredibly useful? Is it surprisingly delightful? Does using it confer some kind of status? Does it have a great story attached? Is it just plain fun? Designing for inherent spreadability can be way more effective than just relying on paid advertising to get the word out.
He also makes a point to clarify that remarkable doesn't just mean loud or flashy.
Yeah, that's important. It's not about cheap stunts or clickbait headlines necessarily. It's about being genuinely worthy of attention. It could be remarkable for its simplicity, like the original Google search page.
Right. That wasn't flashy at all.
Not at all. It was remarkable for its utility and clean design in a cluttered space. Remarkability comes from substance offering real value, solving a problem uniquely, having a strong character, being unexpectedly good. It's not just surface-level noise.
We talked about Starbucks earlier. How did they manage that transformation from commodity to experience?
They fundamentally flipped what the coffee industry took for granted. It wasn't just about caffeine delivery. They focused on the environment, the music, the comfortable chairs, the smell. They offered customization, making your drink feel special. They created a consistent brand experience you could rely on anywhere.
The third place idea again.
Exactly. They turned buying coffee from a quick transaction into a mini escape, a social ritual, a lifestyle signifier. They layered meaning and experience onto a simple product, and that was remarkable.
Godin insists this isn't a one-off project, though. It has to be a habit, a culture. How do companies build that?
It needs to be embedded in how the company operates, constantly asking what's next. How can we be remarkable again? Encouraging experimentation, even small bets. Making time for creative thinking. Actively soliciting and listening to customer feedback, especially the outliers. Rewarding smart risks, not just safe successes. It's about making innovation an ongoing process, not a special event.
Which requires that bias for risk-taking we keep coming back to.
Absolutely. You can't create consistently remarkable things if the prevailing culture is fear of failure. If every new idea gets shot down because it's too different or might not work, you'll inevitably default to boring. Leaders have to actively champion experimentation and create psychological safety for people to try new, potentially purple, things.
Let's talk about those sneezers again. How do you actually target them? It sounds tricky.
It involves identifying the influencers and early adopters within your niche. Who do people listen to? Whose recommendations carry weight? It might be bloggers, specific journalists, respected practitioners, vocal people on social media.
Find the hubs of influence.
Right. Then you need to approach them authentically. Offer them real value early access, exclusive information, a genuinely remarkable product that aligns with their interests. You can't just buy their endorsement. You need to earn their genuine enthusiasm. Their influence is powerful, but only if it's credible.
JetBlue is such a compelling story of standing out in a tough industry. What were their key purple cow elements?
They really looked at the typical frustrations of flying, especially on lower-cost carriers, and did the opposite. Comfy leather seats when others had cramped cloth, live satellite TV when others had nothing, friendly service when others felt indifferent. They added value and even joy back into a process most people dreaded.
They weren't trying to be the absolute cheapest, maybe.
No, they focused on value and experience within a competitive price range. They found a sweet spot. They didn't try to be Southwest or a legacy carrier. They carved out their own remarkable niche by fixing things customers hated about flying.
And again, this reinforces his point about not trying to please everyone.
Absolutely. Trying to be the best option for every type of traveler would have diluted what made JetBlue special. They focused on a segment that valued that better experience and were willing to choose them for it. Focusing allows you to excel in ways that resonate deeply with your chosen audience.
This need for constant reinvention, why is that cycle so vital? Can't you just rest on your laurels once you've made it?
The market never rests. Competitors adapt, customer tastes change, new technologies emerge. What was remarkable 5 years ago might be standard today. Think about smartphones. Features that were amazing are now just expected.
So you have to keep innovating just to stay relevant.
To stay remarkable, yes. Right. It's like running on a treadmill. Continuous innovation isn't just about growth, it's about maintaining your edge. Reinvention needs to be part of the company's DNA, always looking ahead.
Where do these ideas usually come from within a company, according to Godin? Is it always top-down?
Often not, actually. He suggests that truly disruptive, remarkable ideas frequently bubble up from individuals who see things differently, who aren't afraid to challenge the norm, regardless of their position on the org chart.
So companies need to listen to those voices.
Definitely. They need to create channels for those ideas to be heard and considered, even if they seem radical at first. Empowering passionate individuals and encouraging cross-functional brainstorming can unlock innovation that might get stifled in a purely top-down, committee-driven process.
Google's early success simplicity as remarkability. That's an interesting angle.
Yeah, because often we think remarkable means complex or feature-packed. Google's first purple cow was the opposite. Search engines back then were often slow, cluttered portals. Google was fast, clean, and incredibly effective at its one core job, finding relevant information.
It just worked brilliantly.
Exactly. Its remarkability was its utility and user-friendliness. People talked about it because it was so much better at the fundamental task. It proves that sometimes radical simplicity and effectiveness can be the most remarkable thing of all.
Towards the end, Godin says we're living in the cow's world now. What does he mean by that?
He means the paradigm has shifted definitively.
Right.
The era where you could succeed with average products and loud marketing is over. The power is now with the consumer, who has infinite choice and filters out the noise. In this world, being remarkable isn't just a strategy. It's the only strategy that reliably works long-term. Playing it safe, being boring. That's the outlier approach now, the one destined for invisibility.
And his final push is to build marketing into the product from day one.
Yes. Because if the product isn't inherently talkable, if its remarkability isn't part of its DNA, you're fighting an uphill battle later. The question, what will make people remark on this, needs to be asked alongside what features does it need and how will it function. Build the story, the spreadability, the purple cow elements right into the core offering.
Okay, so to wrap it all up, Seth Godin's Purple Cow is fundamentally a wake-up call, isn't it? Create something genuinely remarkable or prepare to be ignored.
That's the long and short of it, yeah. It demands bravery, creativity, and a real focus on standing out by offering something genuinely different and valuable. And we really hope this discussion helps you, listening, to think about what your purple cow could be. How can you inject remarkability into what you do?
Absolutely. This deep dive was meant to give you a solid grasp of those key Purple Cow insights. But honestly, there's no substitute for reading Godin's words yourself.
Totally agree. It's such an energizing read.
So if you want to go deeper, we strongly encourage you to grab a copy of Purple Cow. We've put a link in the description. Supporting the author is always a good thing.
Definitely.
All right, that brings us to the end of this deep dive from BookCast FM, bringing books to life, one cast at a time.
Thanks for tuning in.
And here's something to chew on. In this world absolutely saturated with the ordinary, what unique, remarkable mark are you going to make?